Panther people, what's going on? Going on and watching Panthers Post Playoff Edition with Phil Perkins. And I know the Panthers aren't in the playoffs, but I'm going to be giving my quick MVP reaction for each and every one of these so-so wildcard playoff games. There were some really good ones, and there were some doggy doo-doo ones, which basically I just thought to myself, may as well just giving those teams a bye. Why do we need that 18th week? Because the teams that did make the playoffs shouldn't have been there. The Cincinnati Bengals winning their first playoff game in I think over 30 freaking years. I saw a tweet that was awesome that no one has sent a text message about a Cincinnati Bengals playoff victory ever. Because text messages I think came out in 93, 94. That's when the first text message was sent. And the Bengals won a playoff game before that. So it's never happened. So now there's a lot of tweets, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchats, all that stuff of the 26-19 victory against the Las Vegas Raiders, who, by the way, have basically cleaned house. Their general manager, Mike Mayock of NFL Network fame, has been canned, which I thought was strange because I thought, they picked up some pretty good players to get to the playoffs in the most unreal circumstances. But either way, back to the Bengals. You got to give it to Joe Burrow. The guy is exactly what most teams want, all teams want, out of a rookie quarterback. First overall pick, university transfer, national champion. People thought before he headed to the NFL, he had guys like, Jamar Chase and Terrace Marshall and Jefferson. He had guys like that. I guess the mind of Joe Brady, or I guess maybe Joe Brady had Joe Burrow, is looking like right now. But he is exceeding expectations and exceeding hype. And despite the fact that he tore his ACL last year, you were thinking in the draft that maybe they'd draft Penei Sewell or another offensive lineman, Rashawn Slater, who apparently is not the size of a tackle in the NFL. But they chose to hook him up with his college teammate Jamar Chase and not protect him because, hey, if you can get it out quickly to a guy you have clear chemistry with in Jamar Chase, it'll work out. And guess what? That bet has paid off. Joe Burrow with 225 yards and 2 touchdowns. One of them, you can say, probably shouldn't have counted. But the one thing you can say about this guy is that he is Joe Cool. Is he Joe Montana reincarnated? Not in terms of success. I'm just saying was taking the moment play by play, not getting his skis over his feet, his body over his skis, knees over his skis. I don't ski. But he just doesn't get ahead of himself. And he does play by play, doesn't get too hype, but then enjoys it when they do succeed, as they have been doing when they won the NFC North, made it to the playoffs. And I just think this guy, if they just keep him healthy and continue to surround him around with talent, maybe this year, because it is a pretty deep draft, at least in the first round, in tackle positions, maybe bolster his offensive line a little bit more. And I think this guy is just the sky's the limit. And guess what? I'm pretty sure the Carolina Panthers take on the Cincinnati Bengals next year. And so that's basically how I was seeing the Carolina Panthers rebuild, as in you're worse in the league, first overall draft pick, you get a quarterback that you feel 100% doesn't have all the measurables, Apparently his hands were a bit small, but he has composure, he has leadership, he comes up in big games, and he is accurate, and he has a good enough arm. So if there's someone in this draft that can feel really committed to that, perfect. Or maybe it's in 2023, and that's when the real rebuild starts. And you can see, Matt Rule's saying it took Jay-Z 7 years to become an overnight sensation. It took the Bengals 2 years. This wildcard game, my MVP goes to Josh Allen. And I think everybody who has cheered on any NFL franchise was just happy to see the Buffalo Bills lay the absolute smackdown. They got the New England Patriots and threw them through a table, off a coach bus, through a table, on fire, maybe on some barbed wire, smash them 47-17. I believe statistically it is the best offensive performance in NFL history. Josh Allen had the highest QBR rating in NFL history. I think it was 98.5. And people were praising the Buffalo Bills and doing what they're doing. But if you're on Carolina Panthers Twitter, you probably got some reverberations of 2015 because you're like, whoa, did Star Lotulelei just make a play? Is Josh Allen Cam? Can he take his helmet off and his jersey off? Is that 2015 MVP Cam? You have a gigantic monster of a man who can run with power and speed, who has a friggin' laser rocket arm with accuracy, but just way better receivers. Emmanuel Sanders, Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley. You got Dawson Knox, who's I would say a little bit less athletic and less talented as Greg Olsen. But compared to the wide receivers that Cam Newton took to the playoffs and to the Super Bowl and Super Bowl 50, this is night and day better. I will say the one difference between the Bills and the Panthers this Bills and the 2015 Panthers, way less swag on the Bills. But either way, my MVP is Josh Allen. The guy was an absolute stud. They played in, I'll tell you right now, they're 2 hours away from us where we're filming Panthers Post, and they had the same freezing temperatures as us. In Celsius, it was minus 33 degrees Celsius here, and that guy was playing as if it was 30 degrees Celsius, so hot, so 85 degrees Fahrenheit. The guy couldn't miss. He had complete control of the run game and the pass. He had complete control of the ball and, very few incompletions compared to Kyler Murray, who we're going to talk about later. The guy was just on point. The cold did not get to him. I don't know if he took Bart Scott's advice and took that Viagra, but guess what? Everyone in Western New York, they're feeling a certain way after that. They don't need a blue pill. Rivals, Lambeau Field, don't kill me. But the next blowout was just not entertaining at all. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, reigning Super Bowl champs, fellow NFC Southers, just beat up on the Philadelphia Eagles 31-15. Tom Brady, 271 yards, 2 touchdowns. But I think the MVP for this one will be Mike Evans because they've lost all their playmakers. He had 117 yards and 1 touchdown. Leonard Fournette was not playing. Rob Gronkowski is good for a couple plays, but of course you got Chris Godwin, who is out for the playoffs, and then Antonio Brown, who's making the rounds, talking on soccer podcasts and, releasing an album and all that stuff. So everyone can kind of chime in on Mike Evans as the big target, and I find that he obviously stepped up at 117 yards, 1 touchdown. Really easy victory for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady, I don't even think played a majority of the fourth quarter. It was a Blaine Gabbert show there, and kind of remind us a little bit of what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers used to be. But one thing I will say coming out of that game is there's a lot of teams out there with uncertain quarterback situations. And in an offseason where there might not be too many elite quarterbacks to placate to those teams who are looking for that quarterback to take them to the next step. The Cleveland Browns with Baker Mayfield, they're not 100% sold on him. You got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who literally don't have a starting quarterback now after Ben Roethlisberger got kicked the F out of Kansas City and the rest of the league. He says he's going to disappear. Good. You got, of course, the Carolina Panthers. I have no idea what the hell is going on with that franchise. And you have, who else you got? You got maybe the Seattle Seahawks, who could be losing Russell Wilson. You got the Green Bay Packers, who could be missing Aaron Rodgers. You got the Las Vegas Raiders, who they just canned their general manager. Maybe they got a quarterback in this draft that they're eyeing. Maybe they got Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson they want to pry away. And so there's a lot of teams out there who already are kind of unsure about who is under center. And I feel like, though it sounds weird because he's only a second-year guy, really, the Philadelphia Eagles must be wondering, all right, we have 2 first-round picks back-to-back, number 15 and number 16. We also have this guy in Jalen Hurts, who is a leader of men. Absolutely. Great dual-threat quarterback. Unfortunately, when it comes to passing the ball, I think there is a deficiency there. And so maybe they're thinking, are we calling plays in spite of Jalen Hurts' skills? Are we better off shipping those 2 first-round picks to the Houston Texans for Deshaun Watson, who there's some reports out there saying that he is 100% committed to trying to play alongside Coach Flores, who could be in the running for the New York Giants. New York Giants, that's another team looking for a quarterback. Could Flores end up being the head coach of the New York Giants? Deshaun Watson will try to rebuild his image in the Big Apple, the number 1 media market in the country. I don't know. Maybe they want to go there because I don't think the Eagles are going to be ditching Sirianni anytime soon. But they had 2 first-round picks. Does Houston make a deal there? And Jalen Hurts is now available. Does he then go to Houston to try to rehab there? It's not a terrible situation. You got Davis Mills, who could back up, who's been showing that he can do all right. And you got Jalen Hurts, who you could say, if he was in Houston and Pep Hamilton's the offensive coordinator, unfortunately, not in Charlotte, maybe it could be a good situation here for him. So it could be a win-win situation. And the next game was definitely the best game for entertainment value for all the fans who are not fans of either of these squads. The 49ers upset the Dallas Cowboys 23-17. Dak Prescott and company probably need another rule book. They didn't get a consolation prize for being in the wild card game after having such a great regular season, but they could get a rule book to understand the role situation so they don't run out the clock and then lose in heartbreaking fashion. But that's just what the Cowboys do. That's what the Cowboys do. I've said this 1,000 times. I've said it even on the air on my day job that the Dallas Cowboys are the Toronto Maple Leafs of the NFL. They are the most celebrated, the most covered, the most over-covered. They get all the national television games. They get all the money, the richest franchise in the league, and they have great regular seasons. They have promising players, likable coaches, Maybe not the best owners, but then when it comes to a big game, not even a big game, like literally the first round of the playoffs, or in this case, the wild card game, they just can't make it out. And there's always excuses. Always something happens. And that's exactly with the Dallas Cowboys. Their fans who are exceptionally loyal, exceptionally delusional, just get absolutely upset. So I was kind of happy to see that. I say that neck and neck with Bill Belichick, because Bill Belichick's a man. The Dallas Cowboys are a team. They're a franchise. And I've never been able to like them. For this game, mainly because I'm just jealous, is Deebo Samuel. My God. That guy is probably the most fun player to watch for me in the NFL. The guy's only 6 feet, but he plays like he's 6'3". And he's super fast. He's great in and out of the backfield. 72 yards rushing, 38 yards receiving. He had the touch for 26-yard, longest run of the game. I just don't understand why the Panthers, whoever their offensive coordinator is, just can't. It's a copycat league. Just look at how the Niners use Deebo Samuel and just do the same with DJ Moore. You know, they credited him, especially in the draft process, that he's a wide receiver who thrives with yards after the catch. So do that. Use those skills. Jimmy Garoppolo back in, reluctant starter for San Francisco 49ers fans. He's not the future. He is the present, and he really isn't even the present that the fans want. But he still, despite all that, takes them to the playoffs, wins in a hostile environment in Jerry's world. Despite all that, don't want him. Don't want him. And I know I've seen some proposed trades where, you know, if Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the backup to Trey Lance, you can't have your backup making more than your starter, so then you can swap him for Sam Darnold, who will be making, I think, $5 million less than Jimmy Garoppolo. He could be a suitable starter. And Unnecessary Bluntness, who told me on Twitter that the San Francisco 49ers were thinking about sending a first-round draft pick, you know, to the Jets for Sam. So they at least appreciate his skill set, whatever skills he has. But even still, I'm not about reclamation projects. If they feel that he doesn't need to be reclaimed, he could just be Jimmy, who can, you know, and still take the Panthers to that next level. And it could just be a straight swap, not including any picks, maybe. But I'm still in the camp, and I'm going to beat this horse unless things change. Still in the camp of building this offensive line, the defense in terms of linebackers, defensive tackle, and a safety. Maybe another pass-catching tight end if we lose Ian Thomas, which we will. Do that, and then in 2023 draft, you pick up a rookie. The Chiefs just destroyed the Steelers 42-21. May as well just be 42-0. That 21 points means absolutely nothing. Ben Roethlisberger, great career, two Super Bowls. Gave my guy Hines Ward, half Korean, a Super Bowl and MVP. Apparently now he's in the running for for the head coaching position with the Houston Texans. That'd be cool. Not going to spend too much time on that game. It was a blowout. There's really only 2 games, really. Cincinnati Bengals, Niners Cowboys. It was actually worth watching. But yeah. Not going to talk about that game. The MVP, I don't know, the Chiefs. They're back. Really looking forward to Monday Night Football. I was really looking forward to this matchup. Kyler Murray, not just because he's quarter Korean, but he is, to me, one of the most fun players to watch in this league. I think he throws an amazing ball. It just kind of explodes out of his tiny little arm, and he's just so much fun to watch. He kind of annoys me how easily he succumbs to sacks when they do get to him. And he just hasn't been on point the last couple weeks, and it showed. And Raheem Morris is my MVP. He's a Los Angeles Rams defensive coordinator, maybe should be a head coach at some point, but he absolutely was just living rent-free in Kyler Murray's head. The Los Angeles Rams, the NFL's team, the NFL 100% wants this team to play in the Super Bowl in their own stadium, in their brand new multi-billion-dollar stadium in Inglewood and SoFi. And so they beat up the Arizona Cardinals 34-11. My MVP goes to Raheem Morris because he schemed whatever he schemed to just make Kyler Murray continuously uncomfortable. It just felt like for the entire game, they were literally in their own end zone a gajillion times, and just forced Kyler to make stupid mistakes. He had 2 interceptions, 1 pick six. The other one should have just been a throwaway. It looked like he could have just taken the safety, the 2 points. Instead, he threw it away. Easy pick. I think statistically, it was the shortest pick six ever, but then he had some other situations. I'll say the second interception wasn't his fault. James Conner wasn't ready for the pass somehow, even though it was a design screen. Popped up in the air, volleyball play, tip drill, interception, back again deep in the Cardinals' territory, and then the Rams score. Panthers interviewing Bob McAdoo, the former disgraced New York Giants head coach, for their offensive coordinator position. All I got to say about that is people hire themselves. Matt Rule is in charge of this situation. Matt Rule kind of strikes you as a used car salesman type situation. Bob McAdoo literally could sell me, or I think he tried to sell me a 2004 Hyundai Santa Fe a couple years ago. I'm pretty sure. So if we don't see a rock star, according to Jay Glazer, I don't know what Dave Tepper's going to do. I don't know what he's going to do. A lot of head coaching interviews are happening right now. A lot of marquee guys, but also a lot of guys currently in the playoffs who you still haven't been able to interview yet. Maybe a little bit of a break here. Maybe something happens this week. I'm not too sure. But there's a lot of coaches out there making time for interviews. And if the Panthers make a move to can their head coach this late and wait even longer, within the next couple weeks, who's going to be out there and they're going to be in this situation again? I just hope it's just an interview and that's it. This is McAdoo's second interview with the Panthers because last time Matt Rule interviewed him and then, as he's mentioned before, went out of his comfort zone to pick up Joe Brady. Maybe he goes back into that comfy place in the Bob McAdoo arena and brings him in. And then I can only imagine what Panthers Twitter is going to say. Who are your MVPs on these wild card matchups? Which divisional round matchup are you excited to see? Are you keeping an eye on some of these quarterbacks like I am, whether it's Jimmy Garoppolo and in one case Jalen Hurts? Do you play that game? You watch guys on other teams and be like, shoot, I'd love the Panthers to pick that guy up. Or I'd love for them to play our guys like that, a la DJ Moore and Deebo Samuel. Let me know. Comment community. Make sure to like, subscribe. See you guys soon.